Borno State has been in the spotlight of socio-economic development in recent times. From security to education, health and infrastructure, it has been all-round advancement as captured in the 10-pact development agenda of Professor Babagana Zulum. Welcome to Borno Restoration. I'm Jessie Tofida. But first, let's bring you up to speed with Borno Today. This is the third visit by President Muhammadu Buhari in 1 year after that of the June 17th and 23rd December in 2021. This time around, the president is visiting the state to unveil a special food distribution to families displaced by Boko Haram insurgency. This gesture is in commemoration of the 2022 World Humanitarian Day with its theme, It Takes a Village, with special focus on survivors of conflicts.
As a government, we will continue to support those most in need for as long as it takes, while working closely with development partners to improve the resilience of vulnerable populations. I hope to see more of our leaders' commitment.
The ministry and its staff, together with our stakeholders and the entire humanitarian community, will all work assiduously and tirelessly to ensure that the vision you had for the coordination and efficient management of humanitarian affairs, disaster management and social development is realized.
Borno State appreciates the international community, the development partners, and all international and national non-governmental organizations who have been here helping us and supporting the effort to give people hope in the midst of the great misery brought about by the insurgency.
Mr. President, we all desperately want to see an end to this terrible human-made crisis. We will continue to advocate for a safe and secure operational environment.
Away from the Humanitarian Day commemoration, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated some infrastructural projects in Maiduguri. The Teachers' Quarters Zulum, which comprised of 24 units of furnished 2-bedroom flats in 6 blocks of story building, was the first to be commissioned. Another 500 houses built by the federal government in Malay community was also inaugurated by the president to fast-track the resettlement drive of the state government. Borno State is gradually regaining its past glory as the home of peace. With many communities now resettled, survivors of the 13-year insurgency are turning new leaf in their places of abode. The state government, on its part, has restored civil authorities in almost all the communities resettled. And now that things are gradually taking shape, the State Ministry of Local Government and Emirate Affairs saw the need to educate local government accounting officers on preparation of international public sector accounting standards, budget and auditing local government account records, among others. This, the ministry believes, will improve the quality of general purpose financial reporting and foster transparency and accountability in all financial dealings.
In local governments, we only have financial management systems where we have heads and subheads. We have courts. While the new IPSAS is saying they want to have a one accounting system that is only geared towards accountability and transparency. The gap between the financial management system and the international public sector account system, there are some innovations. So we want these innovations to be now taught to the treasurers in the local government so that we should now clear the gap, cement the relationship, and have a record that will speak for itself.
From the top to the bottom, even at the park level, during the adoption and implementation of the IPSAS, they involve so many professions so that the IPSAS program will go smoothly. That's why if you look at the members, the participants, we invited Director of Planning and Research, because IPSAS is also there when you are preparing a budget.
The non-kinetic approach adopted by the Nigerian military has resulted in over 70,000 insurgents and members of their families surrendering to the authorities. They are made up of 14,609 combatants, 20,955 women, and 35,029 children. Now, they are undergoing rehabilitation to make them fit for reintegration. This sanitation exercise is part of measures initiated by the Center for Democracy and Development. The CDD is confident that this will change the narrative perception harbored against them among community members.
We have trained them in terms of civic education, what they will anticipate in communities. When they go to the community, there is this negative stereotype in community, how they will respond to it. We have brought in clerics, Islamic clerics, to provide them with counter narratives in terms of religious orientation. And now the next step is now to engage in the sanitation exercise. As you can see, we have provided them with the necessary sanitation material like the shovels, the diggers, and the wheelbarrows.
The state government lauds this initiative, which it believes will go a long way in its reintegration process.
It has always been our call for the community to accept them. This has been on for more than 13 years. This camp is housing over 12,000 and taking care of these people in terms of the feeding, in terms of the health services. It requires a lot of support.
The state government called for more support from well-meaning Nigerians and organizations in facilitating the rehabilitation process, which requires funding and other support. This exercise by the repentant insurgent is to be gradually extended to some selected communities in Maiduguri and its environs. Borno is a state ridden by over a decade-long Boko Haram insurgency. It has been in the spotlight of developmental strides in recent times, ranging from security, health, education, infrastructure to human capacity building. The Northeast state has continued to demonstrate optimism and hope in the face of adversity. Under the leadership of Professor Babagana Zulum, Borno is fast becoming a model of economic prosperity and a compass for other states in the Northeast to locate themselves on the map of development and progress. Despite its peculiar security situation, the government has remained steadfast in its developmental master plan. Water supply is a central part of its 10-pact agenda. Professor Zulum has taken the bull by the horns towards securing potable water for residents of the state despite threats posed by Boko Haram terrorists to electricity and water facilities in the state.
Is impacting positively on the lives of Nigerians in so many ways.
But determined to overcome the prevailing water scarcity in the town, the state government has continued to sustain water supply with smooth running of its mega water treatment plant and hundreds of boreholes sunk to provide adequate water for residents. The State Ministry of Water Resources has been a major player in the provision of adequate and potable water to Borno residents. To have a full grasp of water supply activities, we decided to visit some of its water plants across the state. This is the Maiduguri water treatment plant. Its source of water is Lake Alu, which is about 10 kilometers from the site. This is one of the critical water plants serving Maiduguri and neighboring towns. Engineer Kefas Jetwa, the director of water treatment plant, is our tour guide. Our first port of call was the pumping station, where water is pumped from reservoir into the overhead tanks for consumption.
The ground reservoir, after 15 years, it was just washed last year. It was clean and it is in perfect working condition. So here now, we have 6 pumps. 3 pumps pumping to the system 1, that is the pump at Wulari, serving the central part of Maiduguri Metropolitan, while the system 2, the overhead tank is just outside there, which is serving Gonge area, GRA, Custom, and the surroundings. Before the coming of this administration, only 2 of these pumps were working, that is 1 from each system. And they were not even properly working because most of them were leaking. But as you can see today, all the pumps are functional. We have the capacities of these generators are 1,100 kVA, each of them, and they are working perfectly. While in the other room, where the capacities of generators are 1,275 kVA, and these generators are used now to power the pumps from the pumping station.
Then we move to the clarifier unit, where the whole water treatment process begins before moving into the filtration chamber.
We are now at the clarifier. We receive water from Alo through this channel. As you can see, we have our chemicals being pumped directly into the raw water. And just after it, we have the flocculator. And this one agitates the water and mix it properly before sedimentation being taken place in the reservoir, in the clarifier itself. So here we have trading pipes. Before the coming of this administration, about 90% of the trading pipes were not functioning. And we had it very difficult to get clear water from the clarifier. But now, all the trading pipes have been replaced. And they are perfect, they are now perfectly working, as you can see them underneath of the water. The water comes up, the clean water, as you can see on the surface, it moves into this channel, which is called the decanting trough, where the water now is being carried to the filter, which is on the other side, and which we'll see later.
The filter gallery is where the filtered water is being collected and drained into the filter chamber.
Now we are at the filter gallery, where the filtered water is being collected and then drained into the collection chamber, which is right outside, through this pipe. Really, these pipes were in terrible shambles before the coming of this administration. But as you can see now, these are the valves. These are the valves now that controls the air flow and whatsoever at the top. This one is for the backwashing water, this chamber. Yeah, at this stage, all what we have used now is aluminum sulfate. We will reach where we'll apply chlorine, because it is after the filtration. Then we inject chlorine and then lime that is after checking the pH of the water. If the pH is high due to the addition of aluminum sulfate, then we add lime to lower down the pH of the water. So the chlorine is for taking care of all the microorganisms in the water. And then we have another chemical, that is the ammonium sulfate. The idea of that ammonium sulfate is to react with chlorine to form chloroamine. and that one stays longer in water than ordinary chlorine.
The Water Quality Control Laboratory is the final phase of the water treatment production before sending it to town for consumption.
Here we test almost all the parameters on the water on a daily basis.
Here, a comprehensive evaluation of water sample properties is done in accordance with the World Health Organization standard for potable water. Our tour of water supply activities in the state will be incomplete without visiting various locations within and outside Maiduguri metropolis, where residents are enjoying steady supply of potable water.
Honestly, the state government has assisted us with provision of steady water supply. Since this borehole was constructed here, I have not been buying water.
Water is now available for us in this community, whether in the morning, afternoon, and night.
A replica of the Maiduguri water treatment plant is the Alamduri Water Works. Another is the Ramat water treatment plant, which has enhanced water supply in Borno State. Since the advent of the Zulum administration, Borno State has been working tirelessly to provide potable water for residents, and there has never been any serious water crisis in the state in the last 2 years. I had a chat with the Commissioner for Water Resources. Take a listen. Welcome to Borno Restoration. Sir, the Borno State government under the leadership of Professor Babagana Zulum has been investing massively in infrastructural development, and the provision of water supply is one of its major commitments. Kindly put us through some of the water projects in the state so far.
Yes, for the past 2 years, under the leadership of His Excellency Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, we have achieved a lot in water sector. So some of the achievements that we had in the past 2 years, we categorize it into two achievements or two projects. Number one is the non-physical project and physical projects. Under the non-physical projects, we have something like a procurement of HGO, that's a diesel, for the operation of all our facilities within the state capital, in which the ministry procures about almost more than 200,000 liters of diesel every month, of which is a very huge investment. Secondly, procurement of chemicals for treatment of our raw water in water treatment plant also is a huge investment by the state government. And also repair and control of contamination, that's water contamination within MMC and Jere, which can lead to outbreak of cholera and other water-borne diseases. Creation of monitoring and evaluation units to checkmate the activities of the ministry or the activities of the operation department, or to report some of the problems that arises from our consumer end. And then training of on capacity building to almost 500 or more than 400 staffs that we have in the ministry. The government of Borno State is so proud that for the first 2 years, MMC or the state capital and its environs has never encountered or never faced any serious water shortages in the state. We have constructed more than 300 boreholes within the state and rehabilitate and upgrade more than 500 boreholes within the state. Rehabilitation and upgrading of construction and provision of water facilities to some federal institutions, more especially University of Maiduguri and University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. The other project that His Excellency commissioned within the period of these 2 years is Alamdri Water Works. Alamdri Water Works is a project which has been constructed by the state government in collaboration with ICRC. This facility also consists of about 750,000 liters overhead tank, 1 million liters underground reservoir with over 10 numbers industrial boreholes, and the house-to-house connection of about 11,000 houses free of charge by Borno State government without charging a single kobo from our consumers. And also, in addition to that, the state government has also proposed the construction of additional 5 water works in the states. We have one in Benishek, in Kaga local government, one in Azare in Hau local government, one in Kondega, Jere and MMC.
That's massive. Now, how can you describe the operational capacity of the Ministry of Water Resources in its delivery of potable water and then its management?
Yes, the Ministry of Water Resources has water treatment plant in addition to Alamdri and Ramat Polytechnic Water Works, which produce nothing less than 60,000 cubic meter. It has over 200 operational boreholes within MMC and Jere. So all of these boreholes are fully functional now. Separate boreholes have been constructed in the 27 local government, as I mentioned before. About 500 of them has been rehabilitated, and 300 of them, over 300 has been drilled. And there is engagement of casual staffs and commitment of effort of our permanent staffs who operates and manage the boreholes in most of the communities.
Okay, now let's talk sustainability. How far have you gone in sensitizing people in protecting this project you've delivered to them?
Through media engagement, civil society groups and community leaders. So we have a kind of WASHCOM, that's water, sanitation, hygiene committee, which comprises of the village heads, from the district heads up to the ward heads, and some community leaders, coordinated and by the ministry. Some of the challenges we are facing now is that in most of these facilities, we are facing the challenges of vandalization, mismanagement, and then at times the beneficiaries are not up to the task to look after these properties. So I would like to call on people of Borno State that they should be mindful that these properties are not government properties. Maybe if something happens to this property, even before the ministry or the people, the attention of the ministry call upon on this facility, it will take some days, and the same people that will suffer at the end of the day. So I will call on them to be mindful that let them consider these facilities as theirs.
Okay. Now, the Ministry of Water Resources has done a lot so far. What do you expect from you in the coming years?
All what we have achieved so far in the first 2 years, we will just consider it as a beginning. So maybe by the end of this tenure of His Excellency, 4 years tenure of His Excellency, maybe we will achieve more than what we have achieved so far. And then water problem in Borno State will be thing of the past. It will be a study. Yeah.
Honorable
It's a history. It will be a history, yeah.
Okay. Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Water Resources, Engineer Tejani Al-Kadigoni, thank you for your time on Borno Restoration.
Thank you so much.
And that's our package on this edition of Borno Restoration. Thanks for watching. I'm Jessie Tafida. See you next time. Bye-bye.